So imagine this, guys. You buy a 1,000 square feet condo, right? You will be expecting to fill the size because you paid for a 1,000 square feet. But after moving in, Titus, a lot of owners would say, wow, why does the unit feel smaller? Maybe even as small as about 850 square feet,
Yep.
right?
Then you visit your friend who stays in a 850 square feet
A
condo.
newer one.
Then you feel that, how come my friend's house bigger than mine?
Yeah, so how is it possible, Titus?
Developers abused the rules and they got caught red-handed. Stay tuned for this episode of Hiker Titus Honest Truth, HTHT, if you want to find out more about what we are saying. Yeah, so today we are going to talk about something that has happened in the Singapore real estate market for the past 20 years. It's a story involving bonus GFA given by URA to developers, huge balcony, aircon ledge, developer testing the limit, pushing the rules to the maximum, and then URA stepping in and say, hey guys, enough stop it And fast forward to today, why buyers buying today might be getting a better deal from buyers who bought few years ago.
So if a developer has 100,000 square feet of GFA land,
Yes.
right, they get a bonus GFA.
Yes.
Right, and that bonus GFA is about 10%.
Yes, 10% originally,
right. So
in 2013.
Correct. So if they get 100,000 square feet of GFA land, basically they can build up to 110,000 of square feet land.
So 10% free lah.
Correct. So this was introduced many years ago by URA. Basically, it's called the bonus GFA for balconies.
Yes.
Right. The idea was very simple lah, basically.
Singapore hot ma. So tropical country, they wanted better ventilation, they wanted outdoor living space, they wanted greener architecture. So they kind of work with the developer to get developer to be rewarded to build this kind of balconies for the tropical country that we are in Singapore. So like what Hiker mentioned, you buy 100,000 square feet GFA, URA on November 2013 actually say, okay, if you provide balcony, we give you 10% extra. But after that, in 2019, they reduced to 7%, which we will touch on later why. So meaning to say, developer pay 100,000, they get 110,000 or even 107,000 subsequently. So bonus space for them to build without paying.
So actually it's a free space for them to sell to the buyers like basically in the market.
Then the idea is actually great because at this point of time is, URA get the architecture, the kind of building that they want for Singapore. Buyers get balcony, developers get rewarded that free 10 to 7%. So what could possibly go wrong?
So basically the first loophole, I think now we will look at the first problem.
Yes.
Right, which is the cost of internal aircon space versus balcony, Titus.
Indoor and outdoor lah.
Yes, correct. This is something that developers realize. Right, building a balcony is much cheaper than building internal living space.
Less things to build mah.
Correct. So if you think about it, a bedroom requires like your flooring, the windows, the lighting, painting, and everything like doors, windows lah.
Wardrobe.
Correct. How about a balcony? What does it require, Titus, in general?
Floor lor.
Yeah, it's as simple as that, right? So basically, is the floor.
Some wiring lah, but then the floor is just basic lah. Don't need marble floor.
Correct.
Don't need good finishes.
Then they just put railings around it
Yes.
and simple finishes, and then your construction cost is much lower.
So I think with this, right, developers start getting a little bit creative. They were thinking, hey, if URA give us this bonus 10 to 7%, then my cost is like 20% to build balcony. Build internal space is like $1. Build balcony is like 20 cents. Then I build bigger balcony lah.
Correct.
And that is exactly what happened, as we can see from some of the examples that we are going to show.
So when we look at the floor plans, you can see highlighted in red how big the balconies are. It's quite insane, to be honest.
For this 1485 square feet unit, right, you can see that the balcony is actually about half or slightly more than half of the living space already. The living room and the dining room. And that's not including the planter box. So the other example that we have is this very, very compact 3-bedder. 732 square feet, 3-bedder. It's already feel very small, but if you were to zoom into it, look at how many balconies there are. 1, 2, 3. Every room has a balcony. So if we were to zoom into it, very, very compact 3-bedder already, but then it has 3 balconies. One for the living, one for the master, and one for the bedroom 3. So this is basically what we look at and then say that, hey, why is it that developers are building, last time they are building this kind of layout with so many balcony, right? And that's where we deep dive and then we realize that, hey, actually the cost of building balcony is something that can save them a lot of money.
So next, another 3-bedder, 958 square feet, but yet again, like the previous example, this 3-bedder also got 3 big balconies, right? So sometimes, like we always say, we all love balconies, but we always say 1 is more than enough.
Yeah.
So 2 is a lot, 3 is
Excessive lah.
Yeah, it's too much lah. So basically, at the end of the day, it boils down to the developers abusing this loophole so that they can increase their profit margin. At the end of the day, they are all businesses lah.
The last example is this 2-bedroom apartment, 829 square feet, right? You can look at the balcony stretches from the living room to bedroom 2 to master bedroom. So the entire length of the house is actually lined with a balcony that is probably, I think, 25 to 30% of the 829 square feet.
Yeah, it's quite insane. Almost 1/3 of the house is basically outdoors.
So after sharing the layout, we can see the irony. The intention was good. Tropical country, outdoor space, bonus GFA, buyer gets balcony in very, very hot Singapore. But then when it comes to execution, it becomes a little bit questionable. So of course, authority do not stop there lah. URA saw what is happening. They saw that, hey, the developers are pushing the limit, right? So in 2019, right, they introduced some form of controls.
So this is the good thing about authorities in Singapore because they hear the feedback on the ground. So what was introduced was basically a 15% balcony cap. So now developers have a maximum capacity of only building 50% of the whole unit size.
Yes.
So they cannot abuse it anymore.
1,000 square feet, you can maximum balcony is 150 square feet. But 150 actually still very big lah.
Yes.
But at least there's a max lah.
Correct. Then on top of that, they also gave a minimum usable depth of 1.5 meters.
Yes.
So that the balcony space can be usable and not narrow and long.
Yeah, because we do see of some balcony, right? Curvy shape one. The width of the balcony maybe 50 cm. Actually, one person you go outside, you can't even go outside. It becomes like a planter.
Correct.
Not a balcony. But then you give this outdoor space very cheap to build, but there is really no usability except for like just put 2 pots of plant. Then that's it lah. Imagine paying like 80,000, 100,000 to house your 2 plants.
Correct. So the idea behind this change is that the balcony genuinely has to be usable. Cannot be such a huge balcony lah. Right? You cannot build a useless tiny strip either because at the end of the day, people are paying for it and on the ground feedback was they cannot use this space when it's so long and narrow.
Yep. So with this new rule, right, it might seem like, hey, problem solved, right? Actually, it didn't because businesses being businesses, they will try to find ways to, like Hiker say, increase profitability ma. So developer actually found another loophole, which is what we are going to share the main thing today, which is they found the loophole of building aircon latch. So you talk about balcony still have to be nice because you have to step on it. But aircon latch, right? I don't think you even need to put flooring.
No one
It's just concrete slab. Yeah, and then you put the 2 compressor. So this is where things get very interesting because buyers, when they buy the house, right, they don't pay attention to the aircon latch one because you can't really see it lah.
Correct.
Right? So developers certainly knew this. And what they did was actually, right, to focus a little bit of their more attention into building a bigger aircon latch. It's not that they built excessive aircon latch, but you just imagine a development with 800 units. Every unit, they built 1 square meter bigger aircon latch. The living area built 1 square meter smaller. To a buyer, will you feel any difference?
Nothing.
You will not feel difference, right? But in terms of 800 units, that's almost 800 square meters of construction cost saved, right? Almost 860 square feet of construction cost saved by building something so simple as an aircon latch, like a concrete slab. So that's where the economics then will make sense for the developer. I built bigger aircon latch, I actually have a lot more savings, but I can sell the buyer as per 2,000 per square feet.
So after this whole shenanigans, right, I think the government finally pulled the plug. They say enough is enough, right? So basically, I think this is where the harmonization kicked in. So if we run through the summaries again, so in the 2000s, the bonus GFA was introduced.
Yes.
Followed by the developers maximizing the balconies.
Play cheat lah.
Then after they play cheat, the government introduced the 15% cap, followed by afterwards the developers maximizing the aircon latch.
Play cheat again?
Yes. Then afterwards the authority said enough. That's where the bonus GFA was removed, followed by GFA Harmonisation.
Yeah, so in 2023, that's where the new GFA harmonization came about lah. So this kind of came as a double whammy because of the balcony bonus GFA being removed, no more free lunch, no more free area to build, and then came the GFA harmonization, which is no more building of aircon ledge within the strata area. So this is actually the situation that we are in today. But of course, we will still be seeing the older units and the newer units. So in the next part of our video, we will be showing 3 layout of 990 square feet, 2 that is belong to the aircon ledge era, whereby aircon ledge is counted within the 990, and 1, the 990 square feet, the aircon ledge is not counted. And then we can take a look at the difference.
So the first example what we have here is the tapestry, 3-bedder at 990 square feet. So when you see this layout, it's a normal 3-bedder with just a yard.
And look at the aircon ledge, right? In order for you to put 2 compressor, is it too big or actually it's just nice? I feel that this aircon ledge size you can put up to 3 or maybe you can squeeze in 4 compressors.
Yes, possible.
Right, so this is the older layout, right? And then if we were to go to also a relatively newer but also under the pre-GFA harmonization rule, we have Lentor Modern 990. You can see right now, suddenly we have a flex room, a study room. But then in the kitchen, we are missing the yard.
Important.
Same thing, we have an L-shaped aircon ledge. For a system, for this unit, probably you will need 5 to 6 aircon maximum. 1 for 1 bedroom, living room, dining room, 2, flex room 1. So 3 compressor outside.
Enough.
Right? But then you have such a big aircon ledge for you to store your 3 compressor. And imagine you are paying right now, how much? 2004.
Yes,
Lentor Modern.
correct.
2004, this aircon ledge probably will be around 80 square feet.
Expensive.
So around 160 to 180,000, close to 200,000 just for your compressor to have a place to sit there.
Very expensive aircon. So the next one is basically a harmonized product at Emerald of Katong. So now the aircon ledge is not part of the square footage.
Still 990 still?
Correct. But now you see the difference. For this 990, now you get the 3-bedroom plus a yard plus a study. So the first 2 example you saw, either they had a yard or a study. But now moving forward for the same size, you get both yard and a study.
And one more thing, on the left side of the unit, there's a small store lah. But for that one, let's put it aside. So for this kind of new rules, right, how does it help buyers in the market? Because right now, in terms of per square feet or even in terms of quantum, you are paying much lesser.
Correct.
As compared to maybe like Tapestry, Lentor Modern 990, you might be paying a very higher, you might be paying a higher quantum. But what is the end product? One, you get yard, one, you get study. But then you buy a newer product, you get both.
Correct.
Right? Doesn't matter the aircon ledge how big, because actually you are not paying for the aircon ledge anymore. Developer can build one football field, put one aircon ledge, that's their problem. But of course, they being business, now they cannot charge you, they will not do that lah. Okay, so because of all these rules changes, right, there is actually a window of opportunities that most buyers do not see, right? It's important to ask this question, which is better, the older layout that you have to pay for the aircon ledge or the newer layout that you don't have to pay for aircon ledge? And right now, we will share 2 examples with 2 transacted price points to give our viewers a clearer picture.
Right, so I think if you look at these 2 examples, on the left we have a Botany, which is just TOP, so considered a resale, comparing to Nara Residence, which currently is a new launch lah.
Yes.
So you can see on the left side, the Botany size-wise is 926, is bigger than Nara. But what we want to point out is a few things here. Right, so what is the main difference here? So Nara, despite being smaller at 872, they have a flexi room, which Botany doesn't have.
Very important for 3-bedder lah.
Correct. So this is something maybe some buyers don't realize that. They
How
think,
come smaller
Yes.
you can have flex room?
yeah. So, and the other thing we want to point out also is basically if you look at Botany, they have a very long foyer, which is not really usable. Maybe you can put a shoe carpentry, but besides that, nothing else can be done. Something else that maybe buyers don't realize is how big the aircon ledges are. So at Botany, you can see here is 5 square meter, so about 60
60
square
plus.
feet. So this is being taken into account in the 926. So if you deduct 926 minus 60,
860.
Yes, so basically you can see the livable space for Botany is smaller as compared to Nara residence.
And next, we want to put a little bit of price point just for context. Where is the opportunity, right? So in terms of layout, Nara is better because Nara is a 3+1 with a flex. Then we might be thinking, hey, newer and then better layout will be more expensive. But the truth is the transacted prices, right? Because of this switch in government rule, right? Botany being the one without the flex room that you are paying for the 5 square meter of aircon ledge, you need to pay 1.93 million. Or the buyers has already paid 1.93 million.
Accepted.
Whereas Nara residence, the one with the flexi room, the more compact, the better layout, the newer one some more, has only transacted at 1.83 million. So the difference between that is 100,000. In future, let's say for example in 2030, 31, they need to sell, right? Both want to earn 300,000. Right? Botany will have to sell at around 2.2 million. Nara will just need to sell at 2.1 million. Then at that point of time, the question for the buyers out there is, for $2.1 million or $2.2 million, will you want to buy an iPhone 17 or you want to buy an iPhone 15?
Definitely the newer one.
But then somehow or other you save 100,000 more.
Correct.
So this is the window of opportunity that a lot of buyers, right? And that is the reason why we feel that a lot of buyers are rushing into buying new launch, because they can see this small window of opportunity. Once this rule of GFA harmonization is settled down, right? Maybe in another 6 to 12 months, right? I don't think there will be this kind of opportunity anymore.
Correct.
So the next example, also one more just to support, it's not just in Botany or Nara, is also in Zion Grand and Revere. What we can see is Zion Grand is the newer layout, Revere at the old Zouk is the older layout, 818 square feet. Both is exact of the same size.
Wow.
But what we can see is Revere is a 2-bed, 2-bath. Whereas Zion Grand, because of the harmonization without the aircon ledge, it becomes a 3-bed, 2-bath.
Quite crazy.
Yeah. So somehow or other, they managed to reduce the size from the aircon ledge, take a bit from the living room, take a bit from the balcony, take a bit from the master room to come up with one extra bedroom.
Wow.
So if you were to take a look, yes, Revere, the master bedroom is very big, but including the bathroom is 20 square meter. However, not saying that Zion Grand is very small. The master plus the bathroom is 18.
Correct.
So you are not losing a lot of precious real estate to carve out the third room. And the balcony of Revere is 8 square meter.
Yes.
A bit too big lah. Whereby Zion Grand comfortable 6 square meter, which is typically 5 square meter is a very good size.
Yes.
Living area, the difference between Revere and Zion Grand is just 1 square meter. So you are losing a little bit here and there, the places that you can afford to lose, to come out with one extra 9 square meter bedroom.
So in general, you can see Zion Grand in terms of livability is not being sacrificed too much. Except for the open kitchen, bedrooms or living room, still very, very livable. Because if you compare between these two layouts, Zion Grand has a designated dining, but Revere does not have a designated dining. So this is how crazy harmonization can be. For the same size, you get an additional bedroom. But now we look at the price point, Titus. So both are level 18. The first row is Zion Grand, second row is Revere. So you can see here that the 2-bedder is more expensive than the 3-bedder. So you should ask yourself as a buyer, when you buy at 2.5, you need to sell at 2.8. And if let's say the next resale buyer comes and see for 2.8, I can either buy a 2-bedder or a 3-bedder. Which one would you choose?
Same theory lor. Same price, will you buy a iPhone 17 Pro Max or iPhone 15 Pro? Now you got bigger, Pro Max. So this is something that we want to use this video to share with our buyers out there, okay? And also to give a little bit of backstory of what happened in terms of the bonus GFA, balcony, and then to the aircon ledges, why URA is making all these changes. Yes, this rule has been implemented for about 2 years, but we thought it's timely to revisit and share some examples as we can see on the ground, transacted activities of how come a newer, better product can be cheaper than something that is older and probably not as efficient in terms of layout.
So if you guys are in the market for a home and wondering which developments can be considered, which layouts are good, which layouts are bad, and can you find such a good buy where for the same price, you get a bigger unit as compared to an older resale, do scan our QR code and reach out to us, and we will be glad to guide you guys along in this whole journey.
Thanks for watching another episode of Hiker Titus Honest Truth. HTHT. We see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye. Like, share, subscribe.
Ding, ding,
Don't
ding,
get
ding,
caught
ding.
like the developer.